nice to have you with me. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to scrapbook, and this is my process of how to make a scrapbook page. And today I'm going to use this Simple Stories ring binder 6x8 with these photo pockets and show you how I do a double page spread. So let's get started. So before I do a scrapbook page, the first thing I've got to do is collect some things to put in my scrapbook page. And obviously the most important thing is my photos, and these I print off in 4x6 size, but I will use my phone before I print them to collage them and use a collage app to create lots of different sizes to make that more fun when I come to the scrapbooking part, and also to squeeze more photos into my scrapbook. I also collect words. I collect memories that help trigger the stories and the memories that I have that go with the photos. So throughout the month, I'll write little lists in my journal that help me remember things that happened, funny moments, anecdotes, and also just remembering those simple things. I'll write a list of all of the things that remind me of that month maybe, or that holiday. You know, we had camping and we were drinking hot tea outside, or the children played Lego every single day this month, or whatever it might be that helps me remember in a sensory way the photos, the story I'm trying to tell with my scrapbook. And the other things I'll collect are little bits of stuff that are pretty. So cards, I might have magazines that I've bought, I might have little bits of art that I've done. Here I'm doing some calligraphy, and all of those things I'll collect up, ready to go in the scrapbook. So once I've got my photos, I'll have a look at them and I'll work out what is the story I'm trying to tell. And this is really important because it can help you work out which photos you want to include, which ones actually, when you've printed them, you think that's not worth putting in. And sometimes the story will be a day. So here I'm doing Charmouth. This was a day we spent on the beach fossil collecting. But sometimes it'll be something else, and maybe a month or maybe a few days that all were a similar theme. And I want to find the photos that are going to go together and tell a specific story on that page. And that's going to help me decide what else to put in on that page. So I've thought about my story, I've got all my bits ready, and I'm ready to go. And the next two parts of the process I do at the same time. So they're two different concepts, but actually I'm probably doing them simultaneously. The first thing is paneling, and this is about where on the page I'm going to put things. So you have to choose which pocket you're going to use, which photos, whereabouts each photo is going to go. But I'm also looking at the photos, and this is the palette part, to see what colours I want to use. And so because my photos have got some blue and some pink and some soft greys, what I've done is chosen lots of paper that I think goes with that. And I've put them in a little pile, and then I've been through as well and found all the little bits of stuff that I've got in various places that I think also might go with this colour palette, and I've got them all out and laid them all out on my desk and seen if they go with those photos, which hopefully they will. So once I've got my pile of paper and all the things that are going to look really nice together, I'm going to start paneling, which means I'm going to start laying them out on the top of my pockets to work out where they're going to go. There are two things that I'm thinking about in the forefront of my mind as I do this. One is the balance of colour. So I've chosen my palette, and now I want to have a balance. So if I've got pink on one side, I'll probably put pink on the other. If I've got blue on one side, I'll probably have that on the other, somewhere else. So I'm constantly thinking about balance of photos and balance of colour. The other thing I'm thinking about is eyes. And this is a funny one, but I find it really important to make sure that somewhere on my page there are some eyes, preferably looking at me, because your eye, as you turn that scrapbook page, are immediately drawn to the person who's looking at your face. And if you don't have that, it can feel a bit passive, I suppose, the page. So what's really good is having a pair of eyes, at least one, looking right at you in a prominent place. And I always work out where those are going to go at this stage to make sure that the page is going to be immediately interesting to look at. So throughout this process, I'm looking at that balance, and here you can see I've thought there's not enough blue on that side, so I get another bit of blue and I stick it on to make sure I'm happy that there's balance of colour throughout. So technically at this point, I could just stick this down and it would be a great scrapbook page, because we've got balance and we've got palette and we've got nice paneling and we've got some eyes looking at us, some good photos. But we always want to be a little bit extra. So the extra bits that I'm going to do on this page are some journaling. I've been through my journal, you can see up the top, and found some little bits of the story, some anecdotes. We met a man on the beach who taught us how to find fossils, and Joss called him the fossilized man. So that's going to be written down, and some other things that we collected. And I'm going to journal those. Journaling's really fun to do in different places. Sometimes I write a big long story and I'll do a whole pocket that's full of that. Other times I'll just write 2 words, a sentence, an exclamation, a quote, and it's really fun to have that spread throughout the page. So here I've written it on 2 different bits of blue paper, and sometimes I will do it on lines, sometimes I won't. At this point, it's really starting to look like you've got a story. I've got some words, I've got some pictures, and I will often take a step back from this, maybe make a cup of tea and come back and think, right, what do I need? Now, one of my favourite things to add is these little pretty bits of paper you can buy from scrapbook stores, or maybe cut some things out of magazines. But today, because I'm doing one about fossils, I decided what I needed was some fossils. So I went and found my daughter's fossils, and I'm just going to draw them and stick them in. For me, this process is all about slowing down, remembering what happened, being mindful of those moments, but also being mindful of the process. And obviously sitting there surrounded by pretty bits of paper is something I really enjoy. But then making sure I pause when I want to and make something new or add something, I think is really important. And that's why I'll often give myself an aim of doing 1 page in a sitting, because I think I often go the extra mile to make it really special that way, and maybe add in extra bits that I've created as I go. So, nearly there. Now the last thing to do is stick everything down. Now, this is really important to not be too perfectionist at this point, because some of the things that you've been arranging and fiddling around with aren't going to end up exactly where you intended them to be, and that's okay. Now, I always use Pritt Stick because it is very kind. If you need to move something, it's normally not quite set enough so that you can just push it around, and I don't press anything down. So I place it, but I don't sort of put a lot of weight on it, and that means that if I realise, oh, that's exactly not where I want it, I can still fiddle and faff with it. So that is my hack. And finally, I'm just going to pop in all these little pockets that I've made and slide them in, and we will have our finished scrapbook page. So I hope this was fun and useful and maybe inspiring, but most of all, what I want to say is not this is how you have to scrapbook, but the thing that I've learned most about doing this is to just really enjoy doing it. Do it slow, move everything around, enjoy holding the paper and doing your bits of art, your bits of cutting out, enjoy looking at your photos, remembering what happened, and let it be a real expression of gratitude and enjoyment of the memories you're creating, and a way of slowing down and taking stock and celebrating all of the wonderful, glorious, ordinary and beautiful and surprising and redeemed moments in our lives. Thanks for watching.